Hope Hotline. It is Wednesday, and it's almost Inauguration Day. Woot woot.
Yeah.
I've never looked so forward. Yeah, well, that's not true. Twice in my life.
Yeah.
Majorly looked forward to an Inauguration Day other than these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know which ones they were, girls?
Did you say 2?
I had 2.
Okay. Definitely when Trump got in last time.
Preach. Amen. That's
And
it.
then
Word to your mother.
I'm phoning a friend.
I don't know. It was Obama.
I was just going to say that. Who else? Who else was good? Was it Bush?
I know.
No.
Yeah.
Not Bush.
I mean, I was happy about Bush. I even went to see Bush when he came
Okay.
to Sarasota. That threw me into labor with Norma, premature labor.
Why?
And then the election night thrust me right into full-fledged 5 weeks early labor because I was jumping on the bed.
Oh,
1 minute
you
I'm
were.
like, then the hanging chads came and I was like, oh,
Oh my gosh. Yes. The hanging
the
chads.
hanging chads.
Oh,
And I lived in Florida, which was, but literally I
yeah.
went from jumping on the bed
Oh my
full of
gosh.
excitement
yep.
to like 1 minute you're excited, 1 minute you're down. 1
Yeah.
minute you're excited, 1 minute you're down.
Yep.
I had not learned to not worry about anything.
I know. I
Right.
know. Yeah.
Is that Michelle's thing right there?
What
is
is
that
it?
her? Oh, excuse me. Tripod.
Yes, that is. Yep.
Can you email
Yes,
text
I'll
her
text
really
her.
quick? Sorry, we did an interview. We did an interview for a local. Well, it's not really a podcast. What is that she's doing? It's
Kinda
more
like just-
about faith based.
Yeah, it was just like an interview. She wanted to be able to share like what's going on in the community, and I think they just have a YouTube channel, right, and a Rumble channel.
No, it's Homeland. It's for Patriot TV.
Yeah.
It's Homeland is her podcast. Michelle Posey. If you're watching, Michelle, we have your
Yeah, I know.
tripod here at the church.
Yeah.
You might want to text us. I don't know. I don't have my phone.
Yeah, I don't think.
Oh, my
she's-
phone's over there.
Okay,
So if you text us and tell us you're at the door,
I'm gonna.
Vanessa will answer. Hey, Vanessa, there's
Yeah.
my phone over there.
Yeah.
Grab it right
Not
now.
that you guys care, because this isn't really involving you, but she probably wants that. No, with Norma, I went. Me and my girlfriend, both of us are like, I'm 3 months pregnant. She's 6 months pregnant. I mean, excuse me, I'm at the time 7 months pregnant. I'm 7 months pregnant. Bush comes to Sarasota Airport. We push our carriages with Tommy is in and Tommy was a bumpabana. He's big. He's a biggin. So I pushed the carriage or the stroller through this like knee-high grass. Pregnant as all get out.
Oh my gosh.
And, my girlfriend, who's 3 months behind me in pregnancy, she's pushing her son. And so I gave myself heat stroke.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. Tom's family came into
gosh.
town. I'm like,
That's
I'm
the
sick.
worst.
I'm sick as a dog. I'm like, okay, we got to go to the hospital. Something ain't right. Because I was I gave myself heat stroke.
Oh my gosh.
You're
So
committed.
I was committed. I thought I actually went into labor. I didn't know that, but I had given myself heat stroke.
my
They didn't
gosh.
need to get. I don't even know if they gave me IVs or whatever. I started like coming to.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, I didn't like faint or anything, but I was like,
Yeah.
I was not good.
Yeah.
And
No.
then it's like 4 weeks later, he comes, his election night. Yeah, Norma was 5 weeks early.
Wow.
5 weeks
peanut.
early. Tom was not pleasant to deal with in that. That's before he was a man of faith.
Yeah.
He was
That's
freaking
hard.
out.
Yeah, because she was teeny tiny.
Well, she
Really?
was 6 pounds something. She was.
Oh
I don't
my
know. I
gosh.
don't know
Could
weights,
you
guys.
imagine?
Tom's the numbers guy. I don't know weights. He knows weights and inches.
But they weren't concerned about her weight.
Well,
At
they
5
had the
weeks
NICU
early?
unit in there.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
They had everybody in there when I was having because she was so early.
Right. But she was big.
But she was 6 pounds something
Imagine
ounces. She
if
was.
she was born on time.
That's what I'm like.
She'd be a 10-pound
Hope.
baby.
Oh yeah. Well, they run big in my family. I was 8 pounds, but I was very late. I was supposed to be born in April. I was born in May.
Oh my
Back
gosh.
then they didn't take
Wow.
babies.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah,
They
that's
didn't
right. Your
take
mom
babies.
went forever. Poor thing.
My brother was over 10 pounds. I was over 8 pounds.
10 pounds, I
Gosh.
could not imagine
No, me
carrying
either.
that.
And she had them all natural. No painkillers.
She's tiny.
No nothing. Yeah, she's a little spitfire, that woman.
She's a-
Don't mess with her.
True.
I was average weight, but they thought I was a boy. until
No.
They flipped
I
you
was
over.
delivered
Okay.
and I came out a girl.
Oh my
Hello.
surprise. That's
Crazy.
crazy.
So
Interesting. Interesting. So,
Yep.
okay. So what was I saying? Oh, so my favorite inauguration was Reagan.
Oh, okay.
Super
I was
excited
going to
about
say
that.
Reagan, and I didn't.
I
Yeah.
feel like you're way too young for that. So,
No. We lived in DC at the time.
oh, even better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So that's pretty great.
That's fun. This is so high. What are you expecting for this one?
I'm hoping that people aren't idiots, but I don't count on anything.
Yeah.
Because, the last time he was inaugurated, they had riots in DC. They had like people breaking windows and
Yep.
all the other nonsense.
Yep.
So not a big fan.
For sure.
Not a big fan. But alrighty, Roo.
Okay. We're live.
Yeah. Go do your thing and then we'll
Okay. Alrighty. Well, first things first, good old Rumble. If you are on there, let us know where you're watching from. Give us a thumbs up underneath the title and push that repost button. Let's see what happens with that. And then comment, and you can share the link if you'd like to. You can post it into your Facebook page if you are a true supporter. Pull people off Facebook. If you're on Facebook and you're watching, it's fine, I guess. But we love Rumble. We want to support them. They've been true and true throughout this whole thing. Black Robe is always available, and obviously YouTube is available as well. We will have the audio podcast up later. So all of you who are listening right now, thank you for listening on the audio podcast and downloading and just being supportive on there. That's really cool. We need your questions so that we can run this podcast. So please keep sending them. You guys have been sending really great questions in lately. If anything pops up in that's kind of like a new topic, and maybe you can hear biblical principles in it, but it almost doesn't sound right, send it in so we can do a little research. It's fun to be ahead of the curve. I try to pay attention to that kind of stuff on social media. Probably all of you guys are fasting social media right now, but at some point when you come back on and you're, investing more time in your social media feed, if you see anything different or weird or crazy, send it our way. We love to hear or we love to do the research on what you guys are finding. So send the questions in. Or if you're studying and you see something like I'm doing Genesis right now, so I'm working through, I'm only on day 3. I'm finding so much stuff because I'm taking it slow. And so as I'm finding stuff, I'm figuring out that there are definitely things that I zoomed over, and it's making me ask my own questions and do my own research. So if you, have, the other thing is like when you go and read commentaries and stuff, sometimes they're not always accurate to the Bible. So also if you get stuck somewhere and you read all the commentary and it's not really making sense, another great opportunity to send a question in and we will give you all the Bible verses. So you can follow us on Instagram and you can follow us on TikTok. I don't know how much longer you'll be able to follow us on
until
TikTok.
Friday.
Sunday, supposedly it's going to go black.
Oh, that's right.
So, and the problem is they can't
Sunday.
they can't uninstall it off your phone. However, they do updates about twice a week and they will no longer be able to do those. So if it doesn't completely go black on Sunday, if somebody doesn't buy it before then, it will start to lag so badly that it will be a terrible user experience.
So the only other option is that it's purchased?
I think that's where they're at right now, is that Elon Musk has had his name out there. The crazy
That Richard Larry, Tom was telling me, what's the last name is Larry. What's that guy's name? Something Larry.
Something Larry. Oh,
He's
you
a
were saying
businessman.
the Shark Tank, right?
Yeah.
Shark Tank. If he's interested, Kevin O'Leary.
Kevin O'Leary.
Yep. So he might be interested.
He's very interested.
I hope so.
He's got his name in the hat to buy it.
So they would be
He's
wild.
conservative.
Yes, he is. So that would be really great. And
That would be really great.
the crazy part about TikTok is that as a business owner, if you see something making money, like consistent money, to let this just fall off and nobody purchases it as a business owner, that is like a jab in the heart because you're already making money. You just need to buy it. So you know that when you make money off of, or you buy TikTok, you are probably going to end up making money because it's doing so well right now. It's making tons of money. People are super happy with it. They're making their own money. Sponsors
Now, whether or
and
not
ads.
they'll keep what people make on there the same. Is
Right.
a
It might,
whole nother thing.
right. Exactly. It might be very different, but, I I mean, it would be wild to just let it go. So
I don't think they will.
It's
a moneymaker. It's like Twitter. It's not going to happen.
I know. It's so crazy. It's crazy that everybody agreed to take it down, which is a weird thing because they don't agree on anything. But anyways, as of right now, we're on TikTok. We've been sharing some stuff. We have some really big things coming up if we are able to keep TikTok around. So,
which we've been planning since we've been working on, well, Tracy and I have been working on something and talking about it since November of last year.
Yeah.
But we knew they were talking about taking TikTok down.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we've been actually waiting.
Right.
Because what's the point?
Right.
Take it down. It's going to require lots of work.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So anyways, if Sunday rolls around and Monday rolls around or something happens before that, please go and follow us on TikTok because it's going to be some really fun stuff coming up. And I don't know how we'll repurpose it for here. So you might only be able to see it on TikTok. So definitely head over there. FoundationChurchFL.com, click shop, and you can buy all of our merch. It's always available also at church on Sunday. You can go to the merch store and support the Hope Hotline. And we are having our good old friend Natalie coming back at the end of the month. So we need your questions. She is an amazing woman and she is so smart and I love having her on every single time. She is just
It's a great photo of her.
I know. I stole it from our website.
Your sister took that, by the way.
Oh,
Good job, Trin.
I believe it was
so
Trin
great
that took it.
Oh,
Of course.
I love it.
Of course it's good.
Yeah, so
I
good.
could swear it was Trinity.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could swear it was her. I like every single one. Natalie's like, can you help me pick the one? And
Yeah.
she sent me all these pictures. I'm like, okay, there ain't one that's not good.
I know.
Good luck, sister.
I know.
Like, I don't think you
It's a
can
great
go
photo.
wrong with one of these pictures.
Right. Yes.
They were all so fantastic.
That is a
Yeah.
good problem to have.
Yeah. Like, who
Definitely.
has that problem?
I know. Exactly.
I
Exactly.
mean, granted, you have to be somewhat photogenic.
Yeah.
But it's the coloring too. Like when the
I
person
know.
does all of the editing of the photo,
Yeah.
you only have so much to work with. But like being able to the edit side and the person side for so many to come out so good. Like
I
what's the
know.
odds?
I know. Like even the reflection, because looks like a window behind her. Even the reflection's great with her like eyes
I know.
and our new color for season 3. So thanks, Trin.
Wow. Oh my gosh, it's so good, man.
So good.
But
Yep.
here's the thing: send your questions in.
Yeah.
Definitely want
Please.
them. But I'm just telling you, I have her coming on because she and I are going to talk about some things that are going to blow
Ooh, I like that.
people out of the water. On like she is going to like I reached out, which Tracy told me that she was going to come back this month, but there were some things that I have recently seen, and I was like, I want to ask you about this. Is this true? And she's like, 100%. And what we're going to talk about is radical. Like lots of people don't even know what don't know this. There's another option to terminal issues that people, terminal sickness
Okay.
that it's going to be amazing for people.
That's
She's bringing it. So I told her, I said, this is one of the things I want to discuss. Bring it with
Yeah.
you. And she knows it all. Like people think that there's only one means to an end.
Yeah.
And that's just not true because pharma and the medical industry and the pharmaceutical industry as well as the medical industry,
Right.
not just doctors. Doctors are like bound to what they're told they can do.
Right.
But there's so many things that people don't know
Right.
because they've been held back.
Yeah. I believe it. I can't wait.
It's going to be freeing for a lot of people.
That's
It's
exciting.
going to bring hope, I think. to a lot of
Yay.
people.
Oh,
I know.
that's
I'm excited.
Well, that's fun.
So, anything else, ladies?
That's it for our little thing going on today.
Okay. So,
Okay.
what is that?
I said good.
She
Good.
looked at me.
Yeah. Good.
Good.
Okay. So, we're going to go back to, do you have those pictures from the other
I
podcast?
sure do.
Beauty. We're going to go back to our question that we had from Friday. I'm going to go through really quickly what we came up with. Up to the place where we came up with, we're going to go through it really fast. But I want you to know that when we're going over this, that this is the person that came up with this theology that people have run with. Put that picture up while I read the question. Now, while I read this question, think about this human being, and this is what this human being came up with as far as a theory or what is it? Is it a diagnosis of some kind that people have? What would you call this?
Like a personality.
Yeah, it's a personality trait, I guess, is probably the best way to say it.
Okay. Called toxic masculinity. This person came up with the terminology and the definition for toxic masculinity. And it's not good. Toxic masculinity sounds as bad as what the title is. This question I've been seeing a lot of videos talking about toxic masculinity and how we as wives need to break our husbands out of the cycle. I even saw a video where they set up a camera and a woman was sitting on the floor with her husband and he was crying, and the caption was, point of view, POV, you and your husband have been working through his toxic masculinity for the last 5 years, and he finally gets it. I think it's sad she humiliated her husband like that on social media, and I thought hearing from you about this would be interesting since Pastor Tom has mentioned some people claim he's a misogynist. But what is your thoughts on the whole toxic masculinity trend? So this human being, what ends up being a trans man,
Correct.
which after research that Tracy and Talia and Vanessa did, we have come to blows with this human being and what they believe is toxic masculinity, which is a trans man. I literally thought this is one of the ugliest women I've ever seen until I found out, well, that's because it's not a woman. It's a man. Yeah. And men usually don't make pretty women.
No.
Normally.
No, they don't.
So I'm going to give you the Webster's Dictionary definition for toxic masculinity, which I was shocked that there was even a definition. But apparently this Yahoo has helped in making this happen, I'm sure. A set of attitudes and ways of behaving stereotypically associated with or expected of men regarded as having a negative impact on men and on society as a whole. The destructive messages associated with toxic masculinity can lead to men feeling entitled to engage in violence against women. And again, like we talked about on Friday, does this happen? Yeah, it happens. On the whole, does it happen? Nope. I think that if it does happen, I'm going to go through what the 4 types of toxic masculinity are. I believe that if it does happen, where there's a such thing as toxic masculinity, it's not the toxic masculinity that's causing the problem. It's the sin that's in the man's life that's causing him to be toxic, okay? If you're an alcoholic, okay, or if you drink, you might become toxic, okay? But that's the alcohol that's caused that, not the character of the individual. It's your poor choices to get drunk. And listen, I was a mean drunk. I was not, I could be happy or I could be mean. Most of the time, I was not happy. I was mean. So I went from laughing to like wanting to punch your face real quick. So I'm just saying, a lot of people make a lot of bad decisions based on based on what they're doing. If you have an abusive, some kind of substance abuse going on in your life, you might be mean. I know people who get high. They're not nice people. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't mean, so yes, I think too, like if you're, I think you can become a man that's toxic if you aren't satisfied in your marriage, but you're not satisfied in your marriage because you're looking at porn and you're always wanting greener pastures. Okay? Yeah. I think that that's possible. But that's not because you're toxically masculine. It's because you're full of sin. You're sinning. If you were like a godly person, or if you were a normal person that wasn't chasing after something you can't have, you might be content. I don't know.
Good
Call me
points.
crazy.
No, it's good.
I mean, like we said earlier, what do you say for the woman?
Right.
I mean, a lot of people call them the B word.
Right.
But why are they the B word?
Right.
it doesn't mean that they're toxically feminine. It's like there's a reason why they're behaving that way. And it's because of something else, not because of being feminine or being masculine. Does that make sense, girls?
Very much. That was great.
So the common signs of and this woman that calls herself a woman that's really a man, she's probably come up with this because first of all, women won't accept her. There's that beauty right there. Look at the beauty queen that she is, or he is, excuse me. She doesn't fit in society for women. So she's trying to make sure she fits in society with women by putting down men because all men reject her. I mean, hello. If you look like that, what man, I don't know.
If you're a man, what man wants you?
That's gross. That is not an attractive.
It's something else. It's something else.
Yeah. Not attractive. So toxic masculinity, who does he open the door for? This one blew me away. If a man holds the door open for a woman, but not other men, he is only doing it as an obligation or a display of pride formed by the ideals of toxic masculinity. Is this the most stupidest thing you ever heard of in your whole entire life? Where's the emotion? Toxic masculinity often relieves men feeling like they cannot express negative emotions properly. A lot of men are afraid to feel a vulnerability, hindering their personal relationships. Okay, listen, I am married to one of the most masculine men on the face of the earth. But you throw up a commercial about a father or son or a Hallmark movie, he's in tears.
The Publix one at Christmas time.
Come on.
I know.
This is such crap. It's on. I go to what's that movie? Titanic. I go to Titanic. I think I might have been pregnant during this movie. I might not have been, but I think I was. Me and Tom and our really good friends at the time went to go and see Titanic on New Year's Eve night.
Oh gosh.
And
bawling.
Tom and his buddy are crying like babies next to me and his wife. And me and his wife are like, oh, God, please. I'm like, I'll go. It's a movie that's actual.
Yeah.
This movie isn't real. These people aren't dying. So everything's okay.
Oh, my God.
Calm yourselves.
That's funny.
No, they were crying.
I believe it.
I mean, like, I know so many men that are in touch with their feminine side, but yet very masculine. Yeah. I just think that this is like unbelievable.
Well, that's what toxic masculinity is that they don't cry. That's one of the issues, is that they don't cry.
Exactly. That's my point. My point is thank you, Talia, because you're proving my point. I know very masculine men, Jer being one of them.
Yeah. He cries.
He cries.
He does.
I know lots of men who are very masculine. I don't know a lot of men that are toxic in their masculinity. Mm-hmm. I know there are men that I know that are effeminate.
Right.
Love women that are effeminate.
Yeah.
And they cry, and they would be considered masculine, even though they have the side of being. I mean, our old worship leader, one of our old worship leaders, very effeminate. People thought he was gay. He was not gay. He loved women. Yeah. He didn't have any problem. Is that what they consider masculine? And Tom's not masculine?
Right.
That's crazy to me.
Right.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about, Vanessa? Oh. Talia probably does.
Yeah.
Huh?
No.
No, I don't think so. Oh, yeah, it was.
Was it?
It was before her. But great. I mean, great guy. I mean, he was really.
We're missing a mic. I'm like,
what?
Vanessa, where's your mic? She's like, there is none.
There is no. Oh my gosh.
What happened to your mic,
Okay,
Vanessa?
you can share with me. Okay, I don't need to be heard. Yeah, you do. Come here.
Okay, you're gonna have to share the microphone because I ain't gonna work.
I have no idea.
Well, that's interesting. Is it because it's over there?
No.
No?
No, that's
No,
usually
no.
Tom's.
Yeah.
Somebody stole the microphone.
They don't want
Thief.
to be heard.
Okay, we're gonna have to find that out. But you know what I'm saying? So
I do.
because if you're
do.
effeminate, are you off the books for being
Right.
like?
And if you don't cry, does that not now you're a toxic masculine because you don't cry?
Yes.
Right.
You don't cry. If you're a guy and you don't cry,
'Cause
you're
that's-
toxic.
Yeah, but Jeff doesn't cry,
That's what I mean.
and he.
I
Aaron
what I
doesn't cry.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm married to a toxic masculine.
Right.
man.
According to this, which is this is the thing we found the other day. Like, this is some guy with his tattoo arm and his beard, and he's buff. And this is them working through toxic masculinity.
Exercise with Jeff.
Can
Oh
you film
my
it?
gosh, he'll
Can we
kill
do
you.
it?
Can you film it?
I'll film it.
I might pay you for that. I might pay big money.
Just
for
literally
that.
gonna stand up and walk out.
That's crazy.
But it
We'll
is.
go to his bomb shelter.
Oh my gosh, and do it in there with the guns behind him, all the ammo.
Oh my gosh.
I know, it's so silly.
Beyond.
It's so silly.
But I mean, like, Aaron doesn't cry.
Right.
He's very masculine. My son, like, he beats guys' faces in.
Right.
Like, he would be considered toxic masculinity, but he cries. Like,
Right.
if you tell him he has to do math homework, dude.
Oh my
he's,
gosh,
like,
even
he's bawling
today.
like a baby. He'd throw down crying.
Me
Like,
too.
he doesn't
Me
have to
too.
do that anymore because he's 26. But I'm just saying, back in the day.
Oh my gosh.
But if you tell him, like, there are certain things, like, he's not afraid to shed some tears. God bless. But
Yeah.
but people would consider that. That's crazy.
That is crazy. Yep.
Because Jeff is one of the nicest, like, he takes great care of you.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know, guys.
He says his crier is broken.
Mine is too, Jeff.
Okay.
Says it.
I don't cry.
Yeah.
I don't see the need.
Yeah. You know what
Except
it
for
is?
God.
I think
I was gonna say.
he was homeless at one point and lived in an abandoned building. There's not a lot of things.
I know. Like, what makes you cry at that
will
point?
make you cry at this point. Like, the littlest things I like complain about. He's like, Vanessa, I was once homeless. We will make it through.
Great point.
I mean, it isn't a
reminder.
terrible point.
Listen, once you've been homeless, you can make it through anything.
Absolutely. I love that. What a great perspective.
Oh, yeah.
That's like when Galena, she sends me all these memes all the time, or all these videos all the time about like Ukrainian and Russian, and like their parents saying like, you think that you have anxiety? And she goes, but it's true. Like, when you've lived a certain lifestyle, like, these things wouldn't even come across your brain to be like, this is toxic masculinity, when you're dealing with like
Reality.
real reality. They're just bored.
I mean, I grew up in a trailer in the middle of the state of Florida with no air condition.
I can't even imagine.
Until I was 10. I literally had no air condition.
How do you sleep?
Like, I'd rather have been homeless in New York City. Okay. Peeing in it, some ground, hole in the ground.
No, but like, how do
It's
you
hot.
sleep? How do you sleep when it's hot?
Let me just tell you.
Do you like
it's
toss
rough.
and turn all night?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's hot as crap. My mother would set us up.
Yeah.
The saint that she is, she literally would set us up with a wet washcloth,
Oh.
a cold wet washcloth
Such a good
before we go.
mom.
Yeah, and then you toss and turn all night. But think about this. She go. I mean, that's all we could do. That's
Right.
all we
I
could
know.
afford.
I know, right.
And so like, think about this. She had to clean the house in that. She was in that all day long. I went to school. There was air conditioning.
Oh. Okay.
She had to. We had we had a washer, but we didn't have a dryer. So and it was one of those ringing ones. Like you didn't have to crank it, but like you put the stuff in the basin, and then this is aging me, but like you had to put it in, and she had this in our barn, and you like ran it through the little squishy thingies, the two rollers, and then you wash it, and then you fill the thing up with clean water. You rinse everything off. You do it all over again. Then you have to hang everything up. If you have to live in reality, like people that have had to grow up in the Depression,
Right.
Okay, they know, like, real world, first world, third world problems, right? So it's like, I don't know. For me, this nonsense is nonsense. Like, for us to be talking about this kind of, like, when you really think about it, it's just the craziest thing ever on the face of the earth. Like, and most people are not. I'm not saying that. I know that there's Christians out there, that men that are Christians that aren't that great, but I know there are a lot of women out there that are Christians. They ain't that great.
Right. Right.
So what's
where's that?
like? Where's the line?
Yeah.
Why are we? I don't know.
Yep. Yeah.
Benevolent sexism is what an oxymoron, right? But it's true. When men advance a favorable or alternate attitude toward women, typically it's rooted in toxicity. It's nuts to me. Who raised him? So they're going to blame what's his dad like? Men learn behaviors from their fathers. So however their fathers deal with emotions is most likely how they've learned to handle theirs. Okay, well, let me just tell you, most of the world is blended. And there are a lot of people that are being brought up by just their mamas and their dads are not present. So what's their excuse?
Right. Yep.
But those same men can be toxic in their masculinity, right? That grew up and from their moms brought them up. So what's their excuse?
Right. What is the excuse?
Let's go. I'm going to go. Okay, so I'm going to skip a little bit because I want to catch us up. What are considered exaggerated masculine traits? Some examples of toxic masculinity include dominance, men whose violence, control, and dominance to assert their power and superiority. Okay. I was going to say something. I don't know if it's very nice, so I might. But I mean, like, you have to be married. You have to be married to a weak individual who's going to put up with that crap. Think about that. Like, even Vanessa.
Oh my gosh.
Sherry the mic. Even Vanessa wouldn't put up with that crap. Do you know what I'm saying? Vanessa, who is probably one of the nicest, meekest individuals that I know. If someone tried to put their thumb, her under their thumb, even Vanessa is going to be how women today don't put up with crap.
True.
So I would just love to know who is this happening to? Because I don't know very many women, and I'm a submissive woman, and how our house is run is like the priest runs a home, but even me. Like, if Tom became toxic in his masculinity, even I'd be like, step back, brother.
Right.
And we not today.
Right.
It's not happening.
Right.
And the man could squish me.
Yeah.
But I'm not putting up with that.
It's not that. It's the woman who runs the house and she's
Fighting
not
for power.
Fighting, and she's not doing her womanly duties. And so he's like, I'll do whatever you want. Like, if I've got to sit on the bathroom floor and cry, if
She
that
must
gets
be
me,
a real you-know-what.
It is.
That's a good point.
It is. It's 100 because that's what it always comes back to. It always comes back to the women that are running. They're fighting for control.
And they
Okay.
use intimacy
Yes,
As
as,
a
their
tool.
weapon.
as a weapon.
As a
Yeah.
weapon.
Yeah. That if you
Like,
don't
if you don't do X, Y, and Z, well, we can't get busy at night.
right, because I can't bring this toxic masculinity into the bedroom
Right.
because you can see it. You can
I don't
see it. Look,
feel safe.
look it. You can see it. What is she wearing? I'm not trying to be mean, but what is she
What
wearing?
is she wearing? I can't tell. It looks like a wrestling outfit.
It looks like a
Overall.
wrestling outfit. But this looks like somebody that would say, if you don't prove to me that you are sensitive and can cry, then I can't be intimate with you.
And do you see, because I've never heard of this, girls.
Right.
Do you see these women that are talking about this? Are they the ones trying to run the show in their marriage? And so they're using this as a means to an end to do that?
You know what's hard is this is my circle is Foundation Church. So
when you see it on TikTok, though.
yeah. Okay. So I know this one that we found, I wasn't able to go to her thing. It's somebody making fun of this is the screenshot that I have. So I don't know, but when I do see it, I'm just like, this is so stupid.
icky.
And then
This
you
is
just,
icky.
it doesn't grab my attention, but I have seen it. But it makes sense to me that that's how would you get your husband to sit on the ground and record it and then post it? Jared would be like, what are you doing?
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine how
There's a tripod set up
there
behind
is?
her.
There is. And like you said, then she's got to go home or she's got to go in the other room and edit it, make sure it looks the way she wants. And then he knows it was posted. That's so embarrassing. I agree with
I'd
the
be
question.
humiliated.
That's humiliating. That's no, that's
So this isn't okay. See, I don't even know how to answer this question other than to say, like, this is women wanting to run their homes.
Yeah.
It's really not that men are toxic, because I'm like trying to figure out who are these men? But it's really not.
But I think that's good because you said, we did the recap and you said, like, these men that I just described are in jail. They're abusive. So
Yeah.
it's a good like click in the brain. Like, is your husband really toxic? Is his masculinity really toxic? Right. Or is he just masculine? And it's okay that he doesn't cry over every Hallmark movie. Like, why do you want them to be a girl? Like, why do you want them to have girl traits?
Sorry if Tom's watching.
You know, and Jer, sorry, I love you. No, but like,
Tom
why are
would
you
tell
fighting
you,
for it?
But here's the thing. Tom
Yeah.
would tell you, in our marriage, when it comes to certain things, he's just more like a girl in that. And I'm more like a guy in that. And it doesn't mean, like, again,
Right.
he is the priest of our home.
Right.
He runs our home.
Right.
I get a say. I have a voice. And as long as I am respectful in how I talk, and he's almost always, like, it is a rare thing. I can't even think of maybe twice, maybe 3 times in our whole marriage that we haven't spoken respectfully to one another.
Yeah, it's
so
beautiful.
like on the whole, and that's 28 years of
That's
marriage.
amazing.
So it's pretty like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think you can voice your opinion and do it in a biblical way and still have a say.
Right.
As long as both parties are like honoring one another. I just don't get it. And the guy could still be more sensitive than the woman and still
Right.
be masculine.
Right. I know. But it's okay if they're not. Like, it doesn't make them toxic because they're not crying. Like, it's okay.
It's the weirdest thing.
It is weird.
I mean, like I said, like before, what about women who have PMS and act like raving maniacs?
Right. That's toxic.
Could you
Very
imagine if
toxic.
The tables were turned.
Yeah.
And he was doing this with his wife.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Can you
Could you
imagine?
imagine the uproar?
It would be toxic masculinity.
That would be toxic masculinity. But no, it's true.
It's
like
so
some
true.
things are okay.
Yeah.
Considered in the world.
Right.
And then other things is that's demeaning. That's deplorable.
How could you do
Well,
that
I
to
also
her?
think it's just they use it as an excuse for like if they did something wrong and he's not like, you know, like she's crying and he's not crying and like she feels like they just use it as an excuse for their issues. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
women.
Yeah. It's like projecting.
They're like you're just toxic. Like
Yeah.
it's not me, it's you.
Yeah.
They can't be wrong.
Yep. I think so too.
They use it in arguments a lot.
So interesting.
Yeah.
It's sickening though. It's super sickening.
It
This is like in some ways and in some form it's evil.
It is, absolutely, because it's breaking what, like, masculinity is a beautiful thing. It's great. It's wonderful. Thank
It's
God.
breaking down what God
Right.
created.
And now you're adding this nasty word to it. And so that's why I love that we're talking about this, because sometimes it's easy to like get caught up in things because you can like see half truths. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Sometimes masculinity can be toxic if they do things to end up in jail.
Right.
So then you kind of group them in and like, oh yeah, my husband doesn't ever cry. Oh yeah. Like you could read that list that we had up and like kind of see half truths in it. Like, oh, my husband, yeah, that's true. My husband doesn't show emotion. Maybe he is toxic. Like maybe I'm missing this. So I'm
Yeah.
glad we're talking about it.
Yeah, but you know what? It comes what comes to mind is my son was telling me that they've done studies about women, and it seems to be the same kind of men get women. Women only want a certain kind of man, okay? And if he doesn't fit that bill, the other, then like men are complaining because women don't really want to date. This is. Okay, so power is one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah.
power. Men are worthy
Yeah.
only if they have money, power, status, and influence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's one of the things that is listed on this. That's toxic masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
Get this though, women. This is such. It's like women libbers who want men to do certain things, but they can't do other things, and it's like, well, where do I draw the line?
Right.
Like we have created where men don't even know what they can and cannot do, because we're hypocritical in one area, but it's okay in another area. For example, okay, we say that about men, but I was doing some research, and Jordan Peterson,
Yeah.
he he has this YouTube about what's it called? Here's what women look for in men.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It was very interesting.
Okay.
This is part of my research. This was very interesting when I saw it. He said that men watch visual pornography, but women prefer literary pornography. Have I not said that?
Wow.
Have I not said that?
Yep. Yep.
Now, women do watch pornography, and it's actually been said that there are more women that watch porn now than men.
Wow.
Believe it or not. I don't know how true that is, but they're saying, well, let's just say even so, if women aren't watching it as much as men, the numbers are showing that it's somewhat close. But women, growing up, I used to see women reading those Harlequin romances, and then it went to Harlequin and like all these other
Yep.
novels. Like
Right.
just what it became so popular for that one industry or this one company that people started catching on and go, oh, I can write that scum. And so lots of people started writing that porn. And but this is what they found. This is what was found. Women preferred 5 different types of leading men for their sexual literature. Now, what is this person, this man is saying toxic masculinity. I went through a list of different things that were toxic masculinity, right? But get this. This is the books that sold the most where the men were these types of characters. Pirate, billionaire, surgeon, werewolf, and vampire. That's what women bought more books about.
That's
Are
Crazy.
women really
Right.
really women thinking that men are toxically masculine, or is this trans man selling a bill of goods to a bunch of women that want to run their home? Yeah. And most women are okay. Like it's like the squeaky wheel. Really, there are not that many trans. There's not that many homosexuals. But society would say there's way more of them than there really is because the squeaky wheel gets paid attention
money.
to.
Yep.
But really, the statistics show they're small in numbers,
Yes.
but they make it seem like they're bigger than what they are, statistically speaking. This is what I think is happening here. And I think it's a bunch of women who want to run their home. And you just helped me big time with figuring part of that out. Thank you for that. Okay, so he says, if that's the case, is toxic masculinity for real? Because sexual entitlement, men have a sense of sexual entitlement, this says. Well, here's the thing about that. God made them sexual creatures.
True.
Women by nature are not sexual creatures. We are, but our thought process is not the same. We're not visual creatures. We're more about like being endeared, needing to feeling like we can depend on somebody. Yeah. We're nurturers. Like for me, it's like if like some women who have small children, the last thing they want their husband to do is come and start touching them at the end of the day because you're like, I've been touched so much.
All day
Please
long.
stop. Please stop. I can't do it. But if that husband was to say some beautiful things about that person or the wife and shower them with what's true and how they really feel, that bedroom door is open wide.
Or, right? Hey, how about I give the kids a bath tonight and you have a moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, you go and get a cup of coffee and relax.
Right.
I don't really want to see my husband, but see what women will do is, you know what turns me on? Is when I see you vacuuming the floor. No. Sorry. I mean, that's, to me,
Some people.
yeah, well, for me,
Your love language is acts of service.
Hey.
there's other acts. There are definitely some other acts. Like for me, I don't really think, I think seeing a man vacuum a floor is very feminine. It does not turn me on at all. I don't want to see a man. Did you say ooh, Tal?
I said definitely not.
Yeah.
Ew.
For me, ew, yuck. I don't want to see a guy vacuuming the floor. I don't want to like having a sponge wiping the kitchen counters off, throwing a load of laundry in. For me, that's very feminine. That's a woman's job. I want to see my husband doing man's work, lifting things, like saying, no, that's too heavy for you. Give it to me. Or like Vanessa said, that when the jar, you can't open the jar, you take it to him, he gets it for you. That's masculine. I'll do it. Like, I mean, Tom did take the kids and he did put them in the tub and he did play with them and things like that. But that wasn't a turn on for me. That was like, oh God, thank you, Jesus, for a break.
Yeah.
So, but him after, like, I'll be honest with you, like my kids pawing at me all day, I didn't want to be pawed at when he came home. But say kind, sweet, loving things to me, like how you appreciate me or just that I'm beautiful and my hair looks like it's never been brushed all day long and I have bedhead still, and you say I'm beautiful, like, okay, let's take off our clothes. Let's go in the bed. Like, hello.
I know her love language.
Yeah, your love language is
Words of affirmation.
Well, only in those moments.
Yeah.
Because I
like,
don't really,
Yeah.
because there's no act of service he could do. Me, it's quality time.
I know.
For the most part,
I know.
for me, I do
But
appreciate
you need
kind
that
words.
like warm up of words
But-
of affirmation. Because I don't really care. Like Jared's like, you're so beautiful. And I'm like, thank you. Like, just words aren't it for me. Like, I'm just like, thank you. Like, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Now go vacuum the floor. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm totally joking. No,
Yeah.
but like taking something off my plate would like mean a lot to me. Because to me, if you take something off my plate, you care about like that I'm not doing this till 11 o'clock at night. And then you're like, hey, come on, let's go. Like next thing on the list, you know?
Yeah.
So if you're taking something off my list, it shows that like, okay, I care about her, that she won't have to do like one more thing before bed. But you've got to find out like what it is that speaks your love language or what
Or pleases the other person.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that.
But I just really don't think. I think this is a load of hooey.
It is a load of hooey. It is. It's people that have too much time on their hand. Maybe you need a part-time job.
Or somebody who's desperate and nobody wants them.
You know what else it could be? I think a lot of people aren't happy in their marriage, and so they're trying to find a way out. And
By
so they're
taking the masculinity out of their husband.
well, then it's like, see, you won't do this for me. Like, you don't love me because you won't sit on the floor and cry. I don't think this is going to work for me. Because most people aren't Christians. So they're finding a way to leave their husband because they're bored or they don't want to be in this marriage anymore.
Really?
100%. Because nobody's like who's fighting for their marriage? I know so many people getting divorced.
Really?
That it's just, this is an opportunity to try something. And it might not be all the time, but there's an opportunity to be like, I need a reason why. And if you go to your girlfriends and you're like, you don't understand, he's so toxic to me. He treats me this way. And like, he never is emotional with me. And, blah, blah, blah. You get your little team together. And then they're like, yeah, you deserve better. You need somebody that will listen to you and talk to you. Because this is not like the Christian community that's doing this yet.
Hopefully not.
That's why we talk about it. But I wonder if it's just another reason to find something that you don't like about your husband and then you magnify it.
I mean, there are men that are like this.
Of course there are. And there are women like this.
But here's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I'm just saying, like, on the whole,
yeah.
it's not like that.
No, it's not.
And if your husband's like that, do you really want him crying on the floor with you? No. You want him to stay masculine, but get rid of the toxicity.
Right. Like you said in the beginning was perfect. It's not the masculinity. It's what's the unresolved issue. The sin. There's probably sin. There's probably or something leading to sin. It's close.
Oh, yeah.
It's the gray area. And it needs to go.
I'm just telling you, a lot of times for people, the reason they become hateful in a relationship, it's because there's a void in their life.
100%.
And they have found something that they think would please them better. Greener pastures, whatever that is.
Yep.
They think that if they had that, then everything else would be solved.
Yes.
So they become toxic towards you. But this isn't their masculinity.
Right.
It's just they have anger issues because they're not satisfied within themselves.
Right. And they're a man. So they're going to be
It just so happens to be.
masculine.
But again, what's the excuse for women? Because there are
Right,
women who
right.
have PMS and they've given them all kinds of little initials to validate you can be ugly as sin.
Right. That's it. The validation. Yep.
And for me, it's like if you're a Christian especially, you have no rights to treat anybody, even if you're going through PMS and people say, well, you don't know my hormones. Bull crap. Like,
Get 'em under
you're
control.
yeah, because you're talking to a person that literally would throw up when they were having their cycle.
Ugh,
I could throw up
terrible.
because the pain was so bad. Like when I was in labor and I was like 5 and 6 centimeters, that's what my period felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so when I got pregnant and I started to go into labor, I was like, oh, at least I get a break because they would come and they would go.
Yeah.
Because when you have your cycle,
It's there.
it's there all the time.
Yeah.
And I never behaved like that.
Right.
I didn't allow myself to be ugly to Tom because I was in severe pain where my legs were like, I just wanted to like, oh.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
Yeah.
So I don't care what anybody says. No matter the pain, no matter your hormones, you can control you.
Yes, you can.
Everybody can. It's a decision you make. Are you going to allow your flesh to overcome your behavior and act Christ-like or be a hateful human being? Give yourself as many initials as you want. At the end of the day, when you go to heaven, you're going to be held accountable for your behavior. He's not going to go, oh, you had those initials behind you? Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's going to go, no, sorry, but you're accountable for how you behave while you're on this earth.
Yep.
So knock it off. Men and women. So what they say is, they are emotionally illiterate. What is emotionally illiterate? Mostly illiteracy refers to a lack of ability to understand, identify, and effectively manage one's emotions, often leading to difficulties in understanding the emotions of others as well. Essentially, it means being unable to read and respond appropriately to your feelings and those of others around you. I've never met a flippin' man who can read a woman to begin with, who's not
Facts.
toxic.
Facts.
Like, men aren't going to read women. You know why? Because they don't get us.
Yeah.
Because
They're
they
not-
have a different brain.
Right. They're not women.
I don't want them to read me because then I'm in a lesbian relationship.
You know, that's what Steffi just said. Is she said that in her old circle of friends, when she was younger, a lot of them would break their husbands or boyfriends and get bored because they're too wishy-washy, and they'd move on to a more masculine guy afterwards.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I
Yeah.
totally agree with
Yeah.
that. Like when the girls go to bars, they're not dating the guy that is like the nice guy. They're finding the bad boy.
Looking for the hot one. Yeah, exactly. The one that's
mean-
a little tough.
They're not looking for the one that'll be a great friend. They're looking for the one.
Right. Yeah.
So this
ahead.
is bullcrap.
It is. It really is.
People have been shamed.
They have been.
Like, unless you're a woman, I mean, not this
By-
one, because this ain't a
shamed
woman.
by you. You were shamed by this person.
This man right
this
here.
Man.
Who needs major facial surgery and a new hairdo.
He's like 80 years old.
Is he for real?
Yeah. Because it's back in the 80s and 90s when he tried to make this a big thing. Which is bizarre because I wonder if in the 80s and 90s he must have been a man when he did this. Because it said that he transitioned later in life.
Yeah, he had to have then.
That's crazy. So a man made toxic masculinity and then transitioned to a
No
female.
women listen to him. You're dumb. You're dumb as a box of rocks if you listen to that
Yeah,
guy.
You gotta. It's time to repent.
So toxic masculinity is seen in advertising, pop culture, and social media. Where the crap is that seen? Because I'm telling you right now, everything that I see make men look stupid,
Yep.
weak,
Yep.
and
True.
like I think of one show that I used to hate to watch, but I actually like. I like the show because it's somewhat clean. But like Everybody Loves Raymond,
Mm-hmm.
like he kind of gave it back to her. Deborah was the wife, but Ray was always made to look stupid by her. But so many comedies, that's what they do.
Yeah.
They make men look dumb.
Yeah.
That's the purpose behind them.
Yeah.
Like they can't think for themselves. Thank God they have a wife or a woman
Yeah.
who can lead them and guide them through the ring in the nose to wherever they need to go, because they can't find their way through nothing without it. Like a paper bag, like they get lost in there.
Right.
I mean, I've never seen where any advertising of any kind, toxic masculinity, is okay.
I don't either. I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Or I've never seen any show, any movie, any like commercial with toxic masculinity and that everybody was applauding it or everybody thought it was great. I've
Right.
never seen, I've seen other.
I've
I've
seen.
never seen one
Yeah.
that
Do you
agrees.
have anything like recently, like newer stuff that maybe we didn't see? That they applauded it, like it's toxic masculinity, but people are like, "Oh, that was really good." No, okay, yeah,
I don't know.
yep,
That I can think of.
yeah.
I don't know. They say that some factors that can contribute to toxic masculinity include dysfunctional family environment, exposure to social norms that encourage violence and male dominance, exposure to violence at home and in relationships in the community, lack of access to mental health services, lack of behavioral control, and social rejection by peers. Okay, guess what? You know what? I'm telling you right now that all of those things I do agree with, that they can create a toxic environment, which can create a toxic individual. Not just men, but women. But who wouldn't be affected by those things?
Right.
And what are the statistics of that? Very small, I bet you. I would say it's less than 10% of men, maybe 20% of men or less that are toxic in their masculinity. And so we're going to do all of this for 10% less of men. I just don't. At the end of the day, if you want to do this, women, if you want to have your man sit in the bathroom and cry, get a woman that has a penis and have a field day, because that's what you really did.
Oh my gosh.
That's what you married.
True. I mean,
Have at it.
where's the lie?
Let's look at what roles from men and women are in the Bible, because that's truly what matters. What are men's roles in the Bible? What are women's roles in the Bible? And that's what we apply here. If you are a woman that's a godly woman and you subscribe to all of that, shame on you. You should never want to change who you're married to make him more feminine. You should never want to do that. And if he's got something in his life that needs to be changed, maybe he's got anger issues or whatever, that's not because he's masculine. That's because there's a root in there that you need to sit, pray, be an example, talk calmly, responsibly, reasonably, honoring to that individual and say, you know what, I don't like this. What do we got to do to make this not happen in our marriage? Okay? And then you apply fasting and praying. You apply the word. And then you get in there and you worship together. Okay? And see what God does, because he's the only one that can change the heart. He'll root that sucker out for you. 1 Timothy 5:8. I love what the Amplified says. If anyone fails to provide for his relatives, and especially for those of his family, he has disowned the faith by failing to accompany with fruits, and is worse than an unbeliever who performs his obligation in these matters. Love a man that doesn't work. I don't. Like, it's your job to provide for your family. Even if your wife makes more than you, it's your job still to get a job. To have a job and to work. Men that don't work and provide for their family, shame on you. And I love the man that doesn't work but comes to church and then tries to act like he is the spiritual, godly man and wants to give people correction or tell them how to live their lives or what they should and shouldn't do, or has a critical heart and critical mind. You can see him coming a mile away. We have them in this church. Mm-hmm. And I just want to say, shut your mouth, go get a job. And then you can tell people about how they should be this and they should be that. Work on you first.
Amen.
That's the problem. You got no job, so you're looking at everybody else. Get a job, because you're worse than an unbeliever. That's what the word says. So, but it's always so funny. Some of these men want to tell you about you, but they don't even provide for their own household. So it's way easier for you to look at somebody else when you really should be looking at you. You need to do a lot of this and a whole lot of working. Mm-hmm. Drives me nuts. Mm-hmm. Ephesians 6:4. So, men, first thing you should do is be working. You should be providing for your family. This is men's jobs. This is what a man looks like that has a family. Ephesians 6:4 says, "Fathers, do not irritate and provoke your children to anger. Do not exasperate them to resentment, but rear them tenderly in training and discipline and the counsel and admonition of the Lord." So you don't enrage your children. And you can discipline them without provoking and irritating them. Yep. There is a way to do that. If you don't, then you're going to raise a child that's got anger issues. So discipline them the correct way. You don't provoke them to anger when you're disciplining them. And you know what? There are kids that have anger issues. But again, it's not because they're toxically masculine. It's because you raised them wrong. And now they have anger issues. But that's not because they're masculine. It's because they have anger issues. Colossians 3:19 says, husbands, love your wives. Be affectionate and sympathetic with them. And do not be harsh or bitter or resentful toward them. I think that a lot of marriages, if the husband did that, but the wife did it in return, holy crap, they would thrive.
Yeah.
But most marriages, people don't care a bit about what they say to one another. Whatever's in here is coming out of here. How about you take what the Word of God says? Be slow to speak, slow to be angry. That's what Proverbs says. Slow to speak, slow to be angry. Because if you do that, you will be affectionate and sympathetic. And you won't say harsh, bitter, and disrespectful things to your spouse. Ephesians 5:25 says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church, and he gave himself up for her. So be willing to die for her. Ephesians 5:33 says, however, let each man of you without exception. So no one can say, he's not talking to me. It says without exception. So everybody, every man this applies to, love his wife. Because a lot of guys will say, well, you don't know my wife.
True.
Without exception. This is even you. Love his wife as being, in a sense, his very own self. So love her as much as you love you. And I know a lot of people love themselves, men and women alike. I'm one of them. I love me. But my job is to love Tom as much as myself. Yep. But it's not said, as I do, but men is what it's being said to. Men, you're to love your wife as much as you love yourself. And let the wife see that she respects and reveres or reverences her husband, that she notices him, regards him, honors him, prefers him, venerates and esteems him, and that she defers to him, praises him, and loves and admires him exceedingly. You'll have a successful marriage if you do those things. What happens is a lot of people get married way too fast. They don't know what their role is. So then they end up not really being happy with who they married because they didn't really know who they married. And now for them to have to do all those things to a person that they don't like anymore, that if they would have dated them a little bit longer, they would have found out, and this ain't no match. But you're going to have to do that, even though you're not a match anymore. And then you'll fall in love, and God will help you through the process. But that's your job. And a lot of couples, they don't do those things that I just answered. You literally need to write Ephesians 5:33 Amplified Classic. And you need to do that. And if you're not doing it, start doing it. It'll save you from a lot of fights, a lot of anger. And you'll have a marriage that your kids sit there and go, I want that when I get older.
Amen.
Instead of the other. Mm-hmm. Proverbs 31:10-31 said, these are all Amplified Classics, says a capable, intelligent, and this is Proverbs 31:10-31. So woman, this is for you. A capable, intelligent, and virtuous woman, who is he who can find her? We should be one of the ones that are found. She is far more precious than jewels, and her value is far above rubies or pearls. This should be us, ladies. This should be us. The heart of her husband. And so when you hear these things, let me just recap what I'm about to say. All of this would not be a woman who is asking her husband to sit down in the bathroom and forcing him to cry and say he is not masculine, okay? This woman, Proverbs 31 woman, has no business and would never even want that from her husband. The heart of her husband trusts in her confidently and relies on and believes in her securely so that he has no lack of honest gain or need of dishonest spoil. She comforts, encourages, and does him only good as long as there is life within her. She seeks out wool and flax and works with willing hands to develop it. She is like the merchant ships loaded with foodstuffs. She brings her household's food from a far country. She rises while it is yet night and gets spiritual food, which means she's in her word. Spiritual food for her household and assigns her maids their tasks. She considers a new field before she buys or accepts it, so she's a businesswoman. Expanding prudently and not courting neglect of her present duties by assuming other duties. So she does what her duties are, and then if there's something else, she'll take care of it. But she only focuses on her current tasks at hand, and she doesn't put anything in front of those. With her savings of time and strength, she plants fruitful vines in her vineyard. She girds herself with strength, spiritual, mental, and physical fitness for her God-given task. And that's super important. And one of the things that I have really come to know is your spiritual, like for a lot of us, we know where to be in the Word. That's a given. But do we do it? You should be. There should be a time set aside every single day that you are in the Word, so you're spiritually gaining in strength. And that time that you spend in the Word will help you mentally. Okay, so because there's so many people that suffer mental issues like depression, anxiety, and things like that, which I believe the phone has not helped in any way, shape, or form. But physical fitness is huge, which also helps with your mental side of things, with the endorphins and everything else. So you need to be reading your Word. You need to be spending time taking care of yourself physically as well. Like, go to the gym, walk outside your door, wear a weighted vest like Vanessa does when she walks. I just saw some dingbat like you walking down 41 the other day with her weighted vest. I went, oh, there's Vanessa and her weighted vest. Okay, like that's important. Vanessa, how many? You're up at what time in the morning? I'm going to use Vanessa as an example.
Right now, I'm
Perfect
going up
example.
At 5:30 because my whole family goes to the gym.
Okay, so you're up at 5:30.
Yeah.
Okay, and what does your morning look like?
I get up and I grab a cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I sit and I open my Word.
And how long are you in the Word?
I don't think I've ever timed myself, but at least an hour.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then you go to the gym?
And then I put on my stretching
Weighted
pants, my weighted vest,
Weighted vest.
and I walk out the door. And I will walk about I aim for 5 miles. Sometimes I do it, but sometimes it ends at 4 miles.
And here's the thing. For me, when my kids were small, I used to walk, put them in the stroller, and I would go for a walk. Now, listen, I've never been a person where I had muscle in my body because I went to the gym and lifted weights. But I was a person that actually did go for walks and did exercise in that way. But consistency I cannot say I was consistent, but I did do it. But just because I didn't do it doesn't mean that it's not something you should be doing. Right. And when I get up at 6:30 in the morning, almost every morning, 6:30, I spend time in the Word, then I head to the gym. Mm-hmm. That's what you should be doing. Or if you're not a morning person, which I get, make sure you're hitting it at night. Mm-hmm. And make sure that your family sees you, especially if you're small children. Make sure they see you reading that Word. It's valuable. You're training them to understand it. But there's a reason why it says she girds herself with strength. And that strength, when you looked at that word broken down in the biblical sense, it meant spiritual, mental, and physical fitness for her God-given tasks. That's what that meant, that word strength. In the Amplified, meaning it expounds on words so you understand them. That's what that meant. It makes her arms strong and firm. I'm working on that.
Yes, you are.
She tastes and sees that her gain from work with and for God is good. Her lamp goes not out, but it burns on continually through the night of trouble, preservation, or sorrow, warning away fear, doubt, and distrust. So she spends time in prayer. Okay, we as women, that's our job. A man's job is tough. A godly man, a priest of the home, he's got to lay his life down for you and your kids, but mainly you. It doesn't say for his children, but obviously if he's laying him down for you, he's going to lay him down for his family. But like he has to die for you. These are the things we're not being asked to die. We're just asking to do physical things. Do you know what I'm saying? To me, I can do that.
Yeah.
She lays her hands to the spindle and hands hold the distaff. She opens her hand to the poor. Yes, she reaches out her filled hands to the needy, whether in body, mind, or spirit. She fears not the snow for her family, for all her household are doubly clothed in scarlet. So when it gets cold, everybody's warm. She makes for herself, because she's prepared. And that's what that's talking about. She makes for herself coverlets, cushions, and rugs of tapestry. Her clothing is of linen, pure and fine, and of purple, such as that of which the clothing of the priest and the hallowed cloths of the temple were made. Her husband is known in the city gates, and when he sits among the elders of the land, she makes fine linen garments and leads others to buy them. She delivers to the merchants girdles or sashes that free one up for service. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and her... Oh, for somebody to say, strength and dignity are my clothing.
Amen.
I would love that. Love it. And her position is strong and secure. I mean, so many people are weak. Like that verse, I would love for that to be me. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and her position is strong and secure. She rejoices over the future, the latter day or time to come, knowing that she and her family are in readiness for it. That's me. Like that's what I want to be. She opens her mouth in skillful and godly wisdom, and on her tongue is the law of kindness, giving counsel and instruction. She looks well to how things go in her household, and the bread of idleness, gossip. Idleness is gossip, discontent, and self-pity. Shut our mouths. Women, that's what it's saying to us because we talk way too much. And she will not eat. She does not partake in that. That's what it's saying. Her children rise up and call her blessed, happy, fortunate, and to be envied. And her husband boasts of and praises her, saying, many daughters have done virtuously, nobly, and well, with the strength of character that is steadfast in goodness. But you excel them all. I would love it if Tom said that about me.
That's good.
Gosh, charm and grace are deceptive, and beauty is vain because it is not lasting. But a woman who reverently and worshipfully fears the Lord, she shall be praised. Women, oh, let this be us. Mm-hmm. Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates of the city. If you are the Proverbs 31 woman, how in the world are you asking your husband to do that very thing? And I know a lot of women that are Christians that are control freaks and want to run their home. They want to run their children. Like they control every aspect of that family. What part of that Proverbs 30 woman looks like that? I mean, she's very balanced. She does a lot of things in the home, but she is not the priest of the home. Mm-hmm. It's very clear that she's not. So... no woman that's a godly woman is going to be trying to take toxic masculinity out of her husband because she's going to know the very masculine traits that he has are the ones that God gave him, and those need to stay. Anything that is not of God needs to be eradicated, but that doesn't mean it's because he's masculine. That means because there's sin in the life of that individual, and it just needs to be taken out. Before I go to sponsors, ladies, that's a lot of talking.
Anything? No, that was good. I'm glad you started with the beginning part where let's just, because people are like, well, people are toxic. So the fact that you started with like, it's not the masculinity, it's the sin there. I think that'll give people things to chew on. And not just in this case, but in any time an issue comes up, is it really because we're women or because we're men, or is it there a deeper rooted sin issue? Stop just like labeling something because it's easy.
Yeah.
Or it's out there and everybody else is talking about it. Like,
all right. And it justifies your bad behavior that you want to put onto your husband.
Yeah, that too. Ugh.
It justifies your bad behavior.
And anybody that's doing big things, like any women that like have a good group of women around them or are doing really big things, this is so yucky to them. So if you want to have a good group of women and you want to be doing really big things for God, like this, you can't get caught up in this stuff.
No,
you can't. So
I've seen a lot of preachers' wives that are co-pastoring with their husbands. Mm-hmm. They vie for position. So through that process, they try and control even the husband. Okay. They try and that's not good. I mean, they actually run the home and you can see it.
Wow. Yeah.
There's pastors that I love to, it's not Pastor Rodney or Jonathan. They definitely run their homes. There's no mistaking that. But there's other pastors that I love to listen to and I've watched. And literally they'll tell you if mama ain't happy, the whole house ain't happy. That is not biblical. That's actually opposite of what the word says. And I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to them, but they're out of order in that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and it ain't Kenneth Hagin, because Kenneth Hagin ran his home too. But there are men that literally allow their wives to run their household. And if you're wanting that, lady, you are out of order, 100%. You need to fix yourself so your husband needs to like fix himself, and you'll have a happy, Christ-like home, because you're going to answer for it when you go to heaven. And that's the truth. Your behavior is what you will answer to. And one of the things that I don't want to answer to is being an out of order woman in my home, and making sure that when I go before the Lord, I say to him, you know what? I may have failed sometimes, but on the whole, my husband, he made the decisions. I submitted to them, and the way that I submitted to them was in order. It is in the rule of law of how the Word of God says that I should have, with a very, the heart behind it was one of kindness and honoring to my husband, not where I was fighting him tooth and nail the whole entire time. He had to stand and make a decision. And again, you'll answer to how you submit. It's like fasting. If you fast wrong, if you're going to be angry and ugly, don't fast. And if you are going to submit angry and ugly, you're not really submitting. So what's the point? You're making it very difficult for your husband to be the priest of the home. Make it so it's easy for him. So let's do our sponsoring. Laura Keller and the Real Estate Appraisal Associates of Southwest Florida has been in business since 2005. She is a Florida State Certified Residential Appraisal and has been for 24 years with 3 locations, Lakewood Ranch, Port Charlotte, and Tampa. She can assist almost anyone, anywhere, and she is one of the most trusted appraisal companies in Southwest Florida. They have done approximately 10,000 appraisals and are approved by over 300 banks, lenders, and government entities all over the United States. Her company does appraisals for just about everything from residential properties up to 4 units. They work with FEMA using the 50% rule, settling estates, probate situations, inherited properties where the heir or heirs are not local and need the appraisal for their attorney, step-up and basis appraisal for capital gain taxes, and they also provide assistance in selling properties. So if you give her a call, tell her that the Hope Hotline told you about her, and she'll give you a $50 discount. If you are listening, call her up at 941-743-3700, 941-743-3700. And let's go to Hanson's Automotive. Hanson's Automotive Services has been in business since 2017 with 20 years experience. They do everything from oil changes to tires to AC work to engine repair and replacement. They are not just motivated to do their best, they are auto-motivated. And their business lives by Proverbs 16:3. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. Give him a call at 941-460-3962. 941-460-3962. You will not be disappointed with either one of these businesses. They are excellent.
Yes.
All righty. That was a longie.
We did it.
Hot dog. So whoever answered that question, I hope I didn't ruin you, and hope that you may have been like, yes. Now he's got to do what I tell him to do. No, he doesn't.
Hope said.
No, he doesn't. Make sure it ain't you. That's all I'm going to say. Be praying for our husbands. Like women, if this, I will have a lot of men watch. So women, we should be praying for our husbands. They got a tough job. Mm-hmm. I don't care what anybody says. Mm-hmm. They got a tough job, especially in the world we live in, where being the man of your home is looked down upon. Yeah. True. In a big, big way.
True.
Yeah. And women, make it easy for men to want to take that role on. Don't fight them through the process. Yeah. Help raise them up. That's the right way to say it. Help raise them up and give them honor. And they may miss it and they may fail, but so do you. I mean,
true.
So do you. So grace where grace is due. And let's just build each other up, and let's support one another to be the best godly men and women we can possibly be. We're a team, man. When you're married, you're a team, and you should stick together like glue. And there should be no other relationship that you have that you should guard and protect with your life outside of the marital one. And there should be no one that you stand up for more, and there should be nobody that you want to guard and protect more. I'm not saying you lie about them. What I am saying to you is you speak life of them, and you make sure that they go as far as God wants to take them. Especially women, we are the backbone. We are that support beam for our husbands, and we can help them go so far, spiritually speaking. And when they go, they take you with them. So make sure that we're doing that. And but again, guard that marital relationship with everything you have. And if there is some toxic stuff going in your marriage, you got God. He can fix anything. Pray it through. Be the example. Whether it's the wife or whether it's the man, pray it through. Fast for them and see God work. Satan would not it would please him nothing more. John 10:10. He comes to kill, steal, and destroy. He would do nothing more than what he can to destroy your marriage. But fight for everything you got and put it in God's hands, and you do your part in what the word says and see it turn around, because it will. He is faithful. If we are faithful, he is faithful. So remember that. And if you made a commitment and a vow and a covenant with somebody, do it to the death. That's what I say. You married him for a reason, and you're stuck. Make it be good and stuck, Make it be that you're happy and stuck. So we will see you on Friday, and thank you for tuning in. Bye.
Real talk.